Good morning, my lovely little ghosts, and welcome to the Dark Orchard. I'm Laura, and this is a Halloween video. As I said in my intro, this is a Halloween video. And no, I haven't lost my mind. Let me be a little bit more specific. Halloween has officially started. How do I know that? Because the official opening of Spirit Halloween has happened. The flagship store has opened. Therefore, it's Halloween. It's Halloween from now until October 31st. In celebration of the beginning of Halloween, we're going to be discussing all of the new Spirit Halloween props for this year, 2023, and I'm going to be ranking them based on what I think about them. This is based solely on what I think about them, so a little disclaimer there. Just my opinion on them. So, without further delay, let's get started. First off, we've got to acknowledge that this is Spirit Halloween's 40th anniversary. We talked about this last year when we talked about the Bag of Bones prop that they came out with last year, because it had the anniversary date on it. It's got the Reaper from Spirit Halloween on the bag, so it's a branded thing. It's got the year 1983. I think if this prop were to be released next year on the anniversary, it would have gone over so much better. Now with the branding, with the 1983, I really do hope to see this in stores next year so that we can see that 1983, and I hope Spirit's going to make a huge deal out of the anniversary because it is a big deal. It's a big rounded number and I'm excited for it. I thought that prop would definitely make a comeback this year. So far, with all the store walkthroughs that I've seen, not the case. Really thought, since this is the anniversary year, we would have some sort of prop with the anniversary year on it. So far, not so much. So with that being said, let's jump into the props that we do know are going to be sold by Spirit Halloween this year. So some of these I have videos for, some of these I do not have videos for. The ones I have videos for have been released by Spirit Halloween, and the ones that I don't have videos for, they haven't been released yet, obviously. There will be videos in the future, so keep an eye out on the Spirit Halloween YouTube page for that. But so far, this is what we've got. So the first one that I have is the Cauldroness, and we don't have a video for her, but we do have a picture. She is right at 4 foot tall. She's not like the most unique of animatronics. She's very much on the spectrum of something Home Depot would have. She does have kind of bulgy eyes, which is a little unique, and she reminds me of Dean the Deathologist in a way, like the way that her mechanics work, because she has a cauldron that has fog effect, but then she also has a vial that she tilts and fog comes out of the vial as well. So she has lots of movement in her face and in her hands. There's a lot of movement elements, but even with the movement elements, she's just not up to par with some of the ones we've seen in the past. I don't think she's going to be a hot commodity for a lot of people, and she's definitely not one that I would pick up. She's not one that I'm like, ooh, that's so unique and really cool. She's just a standard witch with a cauldron. So for the Cauldroness, I give her a 4 out of 6 coffins. I don't feel like she's the greatest, but for somebody, she's going to be a good prop. I really do like the fog element. She doesn't put out a lot of fog, but she puts out some fog. So for the fog element alone and the fact that she has a lot of working parts, 4 out of 6 coffins. Alrighty, next up is Hellspawn. And Hellspawn is a Mr. Dark reskin. So he goes from about 5 foot tall to over 8 foot tall. And there is a video of that one, so let's look. Now let's watch him on mute. See how he springs forward like that? That's just like what Mr. Dark did. So I really like the theming here, like he was summoned in the middle of the woods thing. That's pretty cool. But yeah, he's pretty dark prop, so I'm kind of glad that he's a Mr. Dark reskin. It's interesting to see this twist. I'm not the hugest fan of his sound effects or the things he says, but as a whole, as a visual concept, love him. And I would definitely give the Hellspawn a 5 out of 6 coffins, strictly on the fact that he is a Mr. Dark reskin, and that shock factor of something that goes from 5 foot tall to 8 foot tall, and just the overall appearance. I can get over the sound effects when the animatronic looks this good. So 5 out of 6 coffins for Hellspawn. Next we have Desmodus, which in my opinion is one of the more unique props of the year. He's cute, he's super cool, and he has an unsuspected jump scare when his wings flap out. That's the animatronic aspect of it, is his wings flap. And I don't have a video of it. You can check out other YouTubers that are doing Spirit Halloween walkthroughs. Unfortunately, my Spirit Halloween isn't open yet, but it's set to open sometime in August, so at some point I'm going to try to do a walkthrough. I know I said I would last year, and I did, and I filmed it, but I never got it out. But anyway, I'm going to try to do a Spirit Halloween walkthrough, especially trying to get these animatronics that we don't have videos of right now, just in case you want to see them. But Desmodus is super cute. He's a bat. He's a bat. And he's like sitting on this tree trunk kind of thing. The skirt of it, the bottom of it has like this viney skirt so that it blends into the ground, and it's just a really cool, it's a cool concept to have like a bat that will jump scare. Unfortunately, it has had a lot of malfunctions within the stores. I don't even know if he'll be set up at my local stores when we go, because of all the malfunctions that have happened within the stores so far. Apparently the wing mechanism just isn't working like they expected it to, and I believe part of that is that the entire animatronics jump system comes from inside of that tree trunk. So the mechanism that makes the wings pop is inside of that post. So it's got a long way to go and a narrow passageway to go in. And that may be why it's not working the way that they thought it would, or it could be something else inside of it, but something's going wrong with the setups in the store. It could just be user error, but we've seen multiple ones that are not working after just a couple of days or less than a day of being open. So because he is having problems, I am going to give Desmodus a 5 out of 6 coffins, simply because he's a little haywire at the moment, but he would be a 6 if he weren't having issues. A tentative 6 out of 6 coffins, but right now 5 out of 6. I'm gonna get the worst feedback on this one, because I'm gonna let you know before I show it. I don't really like it. I don't really like it. And by it, I mean the 7 foot tall darling Dolly. I love the concept. I do. I love the entire body. What I don't love is the doll face, and what it's obviously named after is its face. But I just don't get it. Like, I don't know. There's just something about it. There's something about it that seems off. It looks like 2 animatronics smashed together. Like, I really, really, really like the body. Like, if it was the doll face without the red eyes, with different hair, like stringy hair, and the mouth was open with like a screeching face, I think it would be a 6 out of 6 and beyond, because to me that's what the rest of the body screams. And by the way, she screams, so I feel like an open mouth would have made all the difference. I don't get the porcelain doll face with the perfect curls attached to this weathered, hunched over body with the spindly, like, viney fingers. I don't understand the connection there. There's just a disconnect with Darling Dolly, and I wish that there wasn't. I wish that there was just a slight difference in her, because it would make all the difference. I love the tattered clothes. I love everything about it except the face, and because it has that face and hair, I can't love it at all. I originally gave it a 3 out of 6 coffins, but I'm going to be a little bit more generous with it, and I'm going to go with 4 out of 6 because it is a very tall prop. It does have amazing elements. I love the weathered look, the fingers, just everything I mentioned except for the hair and the face. So I think it's fair for me to give it a 4 out of 6, especially because she's definitely a lot of people's favorite this year. And I can see why. I definitely can see why. I'm not saying I can't. But for me, it just doesn't make sense. And she's not the only one that doesn't make sense to me this year. So because we talked about the Darling Dolly, I want to talk about the creepy rising doll. Because she's more on the level of what I was imagining for Darling Dolly than Darling Dolly. I know I've seen a video of her, but I don't think I have a video of her saved. It may have just been a walkthrough where someone saw her in the store. I don't remember. But I know that her mouth moves, and it's not just her mouth, it's her whole jaw disconnects and chatters and moves. So, in my opinion, that's creepier than the lunging, stationary doll face of Darling Dolly. But that being said, she doesn't, spark anything in me. I'm not a huge fan of her otherwise, so I did give the creepy rising doll a 3 out of 6 coffins. I'm not getting anything from her. I like the tattered clothes. It's a cute concept, but it's not wow. So because there's no wow factor, 3 out of 6. The next animatronic I'm not going to spend much time on. It is the Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt, and I think he looks like the Crypt Keeper, and he does have a demo, so let's watch that.
Greetings, creeps.
If you like a licensed adjacent prop, this is a good one. I don't know that it's actually licensed towards Tales of the Crypt or not. I haven't heard anything about it, unlike another animatronic on this list. But it is a decent prop for licensed prop collectors or people that like Tales of the Crypt specifically, just like me. If I were to find a Ghostface animatronic, I would want it, no matter what. So, 4 out of 6 coffins for Tales of the Crypt's Crypt Keeper. It's a cool animatronic. The next animatronic is Dagger Mike. Dagger Mike is a short animatronic that grows a little bit taller. He wields 2 knives, and he's kind of clown adjacent, freak show adjacent. I like his look. I like the concept. I like him when he's short. And I wish that instead of popping up, I wish that he would stay small and just kind of swing his arms. I think that would have been a cool aspect to the prop rather than having another one that's a rising jump scare. We've got a lot of rising jump scares this year, and we've had a lot in the past. This guy feels like he would have been more intimidating staying small and just moving fast, like a fast stabbing motion or something. He also would have been really cool as a Hauntress reskin, like what they did with Ghostface last year. That would have been really cool for Dagger Mike. But I do really love his outfit, and I like the face. I like the movements. I'm just not a fan of him growing. Like the height difference throws me off a little bit. But because that's such a small detail, I still am giving him a 5 out of 6 coffins. I think he deserves a higher ranking because he is the kind of animatronic that can fit into multiple places. He's not so specific to a one location kind of thing. You could have him in various places throughout a haunt, even if it's not circus or freak show themed. It could be, you could have him in different places. You could also replace his clothing and have him somewhere else, because he's just a very versatile prop. You see how he just kind of pops up and grows a little taller, but not like astronomically taller like Mr. Dark or the Hellspawn? I don't know. That's just my biggest peeve with him, is that he grows a little bit and it's just a little odd. But I like the texture on the knives. I like his face. He's got a really creepy little face. And I don't know. I think he's very deserving of the 5 out of 6 coffins. This is definitely an animatronic I can see someone redoing and making look completely different and still creepy. I had the weirdest thought just now. When I thought about like redoing it, I thought about Joe Pesci's character in Home Alone. Not that he's that small, not any of that, but just like something about the face and the big grin reminded me of when Harry smiles and you can see the tooth. I don't know. It's just where my brain went. But that would be a really funny reskin for Dagger Mike. Anywho, moving on. The Death Stalker is next. This is the Death Stalker. Weird looking little thing, right? Or big thing, right? I don't like its face. Originally, this one was really far down on my list, and I'm gonna be honest, I am an avid Brick Thunder watcher. I watch every single animatronic unboxing because I love animatronics. I love Halloween in general and Halloween decor, and I love animatronics to see how they're put together, because when I was younger, they used to scare me, but now I know that it's just metal rods and pool noodles underneath all of that. So it's really cool to see all of that put together and how it fits together. So I'm a very avid Brick Thunder watcher, and I watched him unbox this animatronic. And then my rating went up, because the Death Stalker, even though it's a little freaky looking, and that's kind of the point, it didn't look cool in pictures. But then when I watched Brick put it together and saw how much fog it lets out, and then saw like the details in the face, I bumped it way up on my list. It was at a 2, and now it is at 5 out of 6 coffins. It's got a great fog effect. The clothing that it wears is not all black. It's more like a grayish off black color, and it's got some texture to it. And the teeth and the little face structure is a very detailed latex face. So where I originally thought it was lacking, it actually has a lot of good details that could be potentially super scary. So with that being said, there is a demo video. Let's roll that. It grew on me. The next animatronic is the most lackluster animatronic I've seen this year. It is Eternal Rest. This animatronic is a tombstone. It's just an overhyped tombstone. It's an animatronic, which makes it more expensive, and I just don't see that it's worth it, because all it does is it goes from a cute little angel face and its head spins around and there's a noise or a scream or a voice, something happens and it spins around, and then there's a Reaper face. Ooh, spooky. I don't think it should be sold at animatronic value, even though it is technically animatronic. It's a tombstone. It's a tombstone that, unless you have multiple other tombstones the same height, same depth, scattered across your lawn, this is not going to be something that will merit the jump scare that it's meant to be. I don't know. There's just something about it that rubs me the wrong way. I don't like that it's so expensive, and I don't like its price point, and I don't like that it's being sold as a premier animatronic. It's a tombstone. Now, if they in the future come out with more animatronic tombstones that do more, maybe I'll change my mind. But right now, Eternal Rest is sitting at a 2 coffins out of 6, because I'm just not impressed with it. And there's a demo reel, so let's watch that. ooh. And then it's just like a typical tombstone in memory of my eternal love, 1600s to 1700s, and then says, until we meet again. I feel like if that's the direction they were going with a eternal love tombstone kind of thing, one, why is it switched back and forth? And two, they should have gone for like a more demonic twist on it. If they were going to go from like that sweet face to the skull, maybe have the tombstone talk about like how the person was possessed, or how they had they had an evil personality, or like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing, like something like that to make it make more sense. I might have liked it more. But right now it just has so much going against it as far as making sense and what it is for me to have it higher than a 2. I think I barely even have to say what my ranking is for this one, because if you guys know me at all, you know what my rating for this one is already. His name is Gourdo. His name is Gourdo, and he's a pumpkin, which is a gourd, and his name is Gourdo. Just look at him. I love him. I love him. I'm a sucker for pumpkins, and I love him. And he is just one of the best pumpkins ever because he's an animatronic. So apparently he's larger in person than he looks. Gourdo is a pumpkin animatronic whose like looks like he peels himself apart. Like his jump scare is that he pops open and the top comes up, and then you can see a fabric on the inside that looks like it's covered in seeds and pumpkin guts, and then there's strands, like, you know, the stringy bits of a pumpkin. There's fabric strands that are like those stringy bits, and it's just so cute and cool. I also really like his eyes. I like the carving, like I like the way his mouth looks, and I don't know, I'm a sucker for pumpkins, and I think this one looks really cool. He's also been a lot of other people's favorites, and I can see why, because he's just so cute. I really am a huge fan of the fabric for when the animatronic pops and you can see the seeds inside. The seeds really topped it off for me. So that being said, and even without having to be said, I give him a 6 out of 6 coffins because his name is Gourdo and he's perfect. Gourdo. Because he's a gourd. Okay, I'm done. Up next is the 7-foot tall Emmeline. And I believe Emmeline is not in stores because she is a hazard. Her face is stunning. She reminds me of the children in Supernatural that were like replacing the children that had the like full circle teeth mouths. I cannot remember the name of them right now. Reminds me of those because she has teeth all around the circle of her mouth. But on top of that, she has a very startling jump scare. It's startling and unexpected. She grows up to 7 foot and she doesn't go up like Mr. Dark or Hellspawn. Instead, she goes out and up. You have to allot for that space, and you also have to weigh her down. But I think she's one of the coolest animatronics ever. I hate we're not going to be able to see her in stores. I understand why, because yes, she is a hazard. It would have been a really cool prop to see in stores, but I totally get why we're not going to get her in stores. You can probably guess, but I gave her a 6 out of 6 coffins as well, because she just looks fantastic. Emmeline is one of the coolest designs I've seen in a while. I really like the like ghostly effect of her, and this is the level that I expect from Spirit Halloween animatronics. With that being said, let's talk about that level that I expect from Spirit Halloween. The next animatronic is Leatherface, and No, I'm not a huge fan of Leatherface. I'm not a huge fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in general. It's not my favorite. It's just not a concept I'm thrilled with. I've only seen the movies one time each, including the new one, which was rough. Not a fan. Just not a fan. But I can appreciate a good animatronic. And this is just eh. When I saw this, I went eh. And when I went eh, I was like, but so many people are going ooh. So why are they oohing? And I had to look up the reference image because I couldn't just go eh and not explain myself. So then I look up the reference image of what the Ladyface Leatherface looked like. I know what's wrong with it. I know what I don't like about the animatronic compared to what it's actually supposed to look like, and that's the animatronic is too clean. Like, you look at the Ladyface Leatherface, you can see the similarities, but the animatronic is just super clean. There's no weathering, there's no dirt, there's no grime, there's no blood. It's just a suit. And the makeup's not as smeared and messy, and the hair's not as messy. Like, he looks like he's gonna chainsaw some people up and then maybe go to work. I don't know, I think that's my biggest complaint, is that he's just not dirty enough. He's not grimy enough to be a Leatherface animatronic. And I feel like that's just like the smallest detail that really throws me off. That and his motions. Let's look at the demo. So this demo. I like the size of him. I like the depth in the mask. I like that the chainsaw blade actually moves. Like, the chain actually rotates. All of those things are wonderful. The chainsaw is also a little bloody. So why isn't he? Even in the demo, where they had time to really put it together, pick the set, make it look like something out of the movie, they still didn't grime him up at all. I think that's just the biggest thing throwing me off, is that they threw a suit on him and he looks so clean. Even his hand looks so clean. I'm gonna admit, when I was ranking these, I was being really harsh, and I did give that Leatherface a 1, but now that I'm actually filming this, I'm gonna be generous and give him a 2. I know a lot of people are gonna rank him so much higher, because they're thrilled to see the Pretty Woman Leatherface. But for me, I'm not that thrilled with the movie. I'm not that thrilled with the IP in general. And then we have this character that's supposed to be super creepy and gross looking, and he looks like he's just got off of work from an office. I have to give him a 2. Again, this is my opinion, but I think he just deserves a 2. I want to see more. I expect more from something like that. He's an intellectual property. He's based on something, and they took it so far, but then they didn't push it over the edge. So my ranking for the Leatherface animatronic from Spirit Halloween is a 2. The next animatronic on our list is Lil Jack Carver. This guy, I audibly went ah when I saw him, because I really like him. But I also severely dislike him. I severely dislike him because he has no hands or feet. And I don't understand. Is he a zombie? Is he a farm boy? Or is he a scarecrow? I don't get it. And because I don't understand it, I'm upset. Because I really love the concept. I like the idea of this, like, zombie farm boy lifting the pumpkin up to reveal his zombie face. And he's got cute clothes, and it's just a really cool motion. I'll show you the demo in a second. I love it. But then he's got straw hands and straw feet. And why? What? I don't understand that part. Like, what is the idea here? Let me look at Spirit Halloween and see if they explain his straw limbs. Here's his backstory. It was always Jack be nimble or Jack be quick. The orphaned farm boy was sick and tired of being bossed around by his foster family. With only the moon to guide him, he stuck out into the pumpkin patch one night and smashed their prized gourd as payback. Unfortunately, he only got as far as the first coyote trap. Not so nimble or quick after all. Now, Pumpkin Boy crouches in wait. Hidden in the patch's overgrown vines, holding tight to his demonic jack-o'-lantern and waiting for the next unfortunate pumpkin picker to cross his path. Orphan, so it was a human, this orphan stumbles into the pumpkin patch and falls into a coyote trap, which turns him into this, but there's no mention of a scarecrow. There's no mention of why he has no feet or hands. So I still don't get it. I like the backstory. I like the idea. They still could have given him hands and feet, and I would have been so happy with that. Just like little black shoes and some scratched up hands to match his face. With all of that complaining out of the way, though, I do want you to know that I gave him a 5 out of 6 coffins just because he's really cool. Again, great backstory. Really awesome looking animatronic. And I can kind of overlook the hands and feet thing, but that's why he's not a 6. He would have been a 6 if he had humanized hands. So before we finish up with Jack, let's watch his demo. He's a really cool prop. Look at that face. That is a really cool face where he got trapped in the coyote trap. And the pumpkin looks really cool. I like that the pumpkin looks very gourdy with the gourd warts. And he's a really cool prop. I give him that. It's just that one thing. I also like that it lights up. Like, there's just a lot about this animatronic I love. There's just one thing I just really don't like. Poor George is yet another Spirit Halloween clown animatronic. One of, I believe, 2, technically 3, that we get this year. So, since we're talking about things that don't make sense, this doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I love it, though. I know I keep saying that, but I wish that it came with, like, 2 pool noodles with some pants on it. And then the flat top that has the blood on the bottom. Like, if it looked like he was sawed in half or torn in half, I think it would have made more sense to me. But the fact that there's just exposed blood underneath him and he flips over and over again, it doesn't make sense to me. Now that I say it doesn't make sense to me, though, let's go to Spirit Halloween and see if they explain the half-bodiness. George was a good clown. He made the kids laugh and parents smile and keep the circus happy. Then a strange thing happened on Halloween. George was performing for tips on the street while the circus was on winter break when an out-of-control cable car careened around the corner and sliced him in half. Amazingly, George's body survived the accident, but his mind became tormented. Instead of jokes and gags, he now stares down passers-by laughing maniacally. But they better not stay too long, because poor George will ensure they don't get very far. After his accident, poor George gained a few more tricks up his sleeve. Put him on display and watch him as he terrifies guests with his maniacal laugh and flipping torso that rotates at his shoulders. So, why do we see exposed guts on the bottom? I don't know. It just throws me off to see the torso rotating like that. I do really love the faces, though. I think the faces are phenomenal because he has a happy face and a deranged face. And I love the blood around the mouth. I like that there's two different color pom-poms depending on which side of him you're seeing. So the like deranged face, you have the black pom-poms, and then on the happy side you have the orange pom-poms. That's a really cool feature. That's a really nice little added thing. And I love the colors, the bright neon colors. It plays into this year's Halloween theme. By the way, I didn't make a video on my predictions for Halloween this year, but the biggest one is we're going to focus on neons. Lots of purples, lots of greens, but specifically neons. And felt. Lots of felt items. Both felted items and items flocked with felt. Felt is going to be a thing this year, which is not a sensory thing I'm prepared for, but I'm guessing that's where we're headed. Anywho, back to poor George. Let's watch his demo. Watching the demo, I can see how he would be a perfect fit for a circus themed area. A circus themed haunt, freak show themed haunt. I think he would be perfect. Really like his hands. His hands are, I think, from a different animatronic. Love the two faces. Love the sheen on his face. And really, again, love the difference in pom-poms depending on the face. If I had a spooky circus themed haunt, I would love him. But because I think on the side of logic with a lot of animatronics, I gave poor George a 4. Poor George 4. While we're on the clown train, let's go for Slim, which is a really fun little movie about killer alien clowns. And we have gotten other killer clown animatronics. We got Shorty in previous years, and I loved Shorty. I thought Shorty was super cute. Lots of detail with his little boxing gloves. Slim, on the other hand, I like his size. I like how movie accurate he does look. And I like his laughter. It's very Slim. But I hate the popcorn bag. I hate that it's just a printed piece of fabric. Just that little extra something of a resin or even a soft plastic, a thin plastic popcorn. Something that looked a little more realistic than a piece of fabric would have been phenomenal. Or I would have liked to seen him paired with a cotton candy cocoon or the popcorn gun. Something from the movie that was a little more visually pleasing than a piece of fabric with popcorn printed on it. That being said, I'm giving Slim a 3 out of 6 coffins. Not because he's a bad animatronic, but because there wasn't a lot put into him. It was just, oh, let's put another killer clown out there. That's what I feel like they said. Instead of, well, let's look at this character the way that we looked at Shorty. The popcorn bag just really throws me off with this one. And, okay. Maybe a 4. Let's give him a 4. Let's give him a 4. Because it is mostly the bag that throws me off. Yeah. Okay, a 4. 4 out of 6. I changed my mind. It still throws me off. So let's watch his demo. Do we see what I'm saying here about the popcorn bag? It's literally being presented up like you're supposed to touch it. He lifts his arms and shows you the bag like you're supposed to look into it or reach into it. And I feel like that's just going to mess up people's expensive prop. Let's stay on that clown train and talk about Stilts. I feel like I've been really negative on a lot of animatronics so far, so let me be positive about one. I love him. He's very funhousey. He's very different. He's on the scale of the two-headed ice cream guy. The two-headed ice cream clown from a few years back. Like, this is the same level that I would put him at. He's not like overly scary, but he's super tall and he's just beautifully designed. Again, those neon colors, that purple I was talking about, really pops here. I love the blue hair and I love his movements. Speaking of movements, before I give my ranking, let's look at that movement. I really love the way his head spins. It goes all the way around, and I like the bloody bowling pins, like the carnival game, like a carnival game thing. I think it's really cool. I think you could build an entire set around this animatronic, and that's the kind of thing that I really look for in an animatronic. When I originally made my list, I gave him a 5 out of 6, but I think I'm bumping him up to a 6 out of 6 coffins. He's just really good. The more I think about him as a standalone clown prop, the more I can see someone having him and then building off of him. So I would say, just because he's a good starter animatronic or a good addition to a lot of different haunt themes, I'm giving Stilts a 6 out of 6 coffins. I want to talk a little bit about another IP thing, because it is an IP, it is a licensed product, but it's licensed based on something you wouldn't expect. That's going to be the Martian Warrior animatronic from Mars Attacks. I don't have a standalone picture of this, I forgot to upload it, but I do have a demo, so let's look at the demo really fast. The Martian Warrior, the Mars Attacks animatronic, stands at 6.5 feet. This animatronic is not based on the Mars Attack movie by Tim Burton. Instead, it is based off of the original card game, which the movie was also based off of. So if you're a movie-only fan, you may see some discrepancies there, but I think it's a really cool animatronic. It looks very spot on, very detailed, and I love the fog effect. So with that being said, I give it 5 out of 6 coffins. I think it's very cool, once again, for someone that collects that kind of animatronic. It would be a really cool animatronic to put in a haunt that is space themed or alien themed or something like that. And now we're back to some things that don't make a lot of sense. This one I do want to read the Spirit Halloween description for, to see if you can make more sense of it, but that would be the Black Heart. Ava should have been married. In her old-fashioned village, she was already considered a spinster by the age of 25. Her friends had all found love, and she ached to be next. As the sun set on another lovely evening, Ava succumbed to her last resort. According to local lore, if she climbed into a freshly dug grave in town, in the cemetery at exactly midnight, her true love would show up at sunrise and revive her with a kiss. When Ava awoke the following morning with her lips pressed against a cold, dead kiss of her undead master, she learned the true meaning of being careful about what you wish for. Love is what brought Ava to her downfall, and now her partner, the Black Heart, is ready to seduce any unsuspecting guest to be his next victim. Speaking menacing phrases from his moving mouth and opening his arms to reveal the remains of Ava inside of his cloak, a lovesick 25-year-old girl crawls into a grave and wakes up embraced by a reaper, basically. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the concept, and the animatronic itself doesn't give me that. When I look at this animatronic, I see a skeleton reaper holding a woman's torso. And while the details on the female's face are immaculate, like eyelashes, perfectly done SFX on her face, all I see is a torso, for one, because her like skirt thing blends in with his cloak. I'm not even sure if it's part of her skirt or if it is part of his cloak. His arm like goes over her and then moves to reveal her. I just don't think I would understand it without reading the backstory. It's a really cool concept. It's a really cool prop. It just has too much story to it, I want to say. But yeah, it's just, there's something about this animatronic that just doesn't fully make sense to me.
For all time.
So the Black Heart, along with many others on the list, is getting a 4 out of 6 coffins. Great concept, good story, beautiful animatronic, but there's just that one thing that throws me off and I just can't get past it. So 4 out of 6 coffins for me. The next animatronic technically is an animatronic, but it's another one of those like, is it though? The next one is Thresher.
Enter if you dare. Welcome to the land of eternal scare.
That was Thrasher. It is literally a walkthrough animatronic that looks like a ghoul with big eyes and creepy hands, and I like that the creepy hands match the rest of the body, unlike with Darling Dolly. To rank it for what it is, which is a walk-through archway of an animatronic, I say it is a good 5 out of 6. There's some things that could be improved. I feel like the walkway itself isn't as large as it could have been, but it is a very cool walk-through animatronic. I have saved my favorite for last, so if you're a big Spirit Halloween nerd, you know what my favorite one is. But before we get to that, we have an honorable mention.
Step right up and get your balloons here. Only 10 cents. And what's a day at the circus without a balloon? Just don't come a knocking for refunds. Don't ask why.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Heckles the Clown while this video plays. Heckles was going to be my top animatronic from Spirit Halloween this year. I'm not going to lie, he was going to be my number one. He was going to get 6 out of 6 coffins, and I was going to save him for last because he was going to be my favorite. I love his face, I love his phrases, I love his design. Again, that neon purple. He's a very realistic clown, he's a very believable clown. I love the gash on his forehead. I love his storyline. I love everything about him. I really have no complaints, 0 complaints about this animatronic. The balloon's perfect, the phrases are perfect, his face is perfect, his clothing is perfect. The shoes, green shoes, I want those shoes. But then he had to go and mess his face up in every single box that was delivered. There was a problem with Heckles, and that was that his face would distort because his mechanisms would move him too much, or he'd be delivered scrunched up, but basically his face looked melty. And unlike with Desmodus, this one has been pulled from the shelves for this year. So Heckles will not be a 2023 animatronic this year. He will not be in stores, and I don't believe he'll be sold online until that is fixed. Unfortunately, he's not in the lineup for me to make my favorite, but he would have been if he were. So the honorable mention goes to Heckles the Clown. I would have given him a very high 6 out of 6. Hopefully we'll see him in the stores next year once they get him figured out. So are you ready to know what my favorite one is this year? The Grave Watcher. I don't have the video for her, but she is just so perfect. I've seen her in every store so far that I've seen walkthroughs for. So if you're really interested to see what she does, go to some of those videos and watch those amazing YouTubers that have already walked through Spirit Halloweens. I'll even link some of them below. I love her. No complaints. She's the perfect animatronic. Super freaking cute. Great voice. Great size. She has a raspy, whispery voice, like this. And I love her. She doesn't have like that really cutesy doll voice that you hear from a lot of animatronics. Instead, it's this like really demonic, raspy voice. And I love it. Love it. She's very, very simple, but she could go with any haunt. Except like maybe an alien themed haunt, but still, you could fit her in somewhere. She's just so cute and so versatile, and I think she is just the perfect animatronic for this year. So needless to say, I give the Grave Watcher a 6 out of 6 coffins. But with that being said, that is all of the 2023 Spirit Halloween lineup. I did also want to mention that in most stores we've been seeing the widow with the broken neck from last year that we didn't get to see in stores. She was an online exclusive, and in addition to the Chucky and Tiffany dolls that they have, they've now added a Glenn doll. Looks exactly like the Billy Boyd Glenn doll, and I'm super excited to see that in person as well. So for the comments down below, I want you to tell me which was your favorite animatronic and your least favorite animatronic. And if you don't talk to me about that, tell me which store's lineup you're the most excited for. Is it Lowe's, Home Depot, Spirit Halloween? Is it at home? Let me know down in the comments. And if you don't talk to me about that, just talk to me about something, because I love for you to talk to me down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come around again soon. Say bye. Bye.